Hey there, welcome back. So as we know that classes and objects can depict real life objects, right? So let's get started, and today we will create a class which will depict a real life example. So first of all, in this particular project we will be adding a new class. Now this class would be a simple hello class, and using this class we will be calling in the object of the car class. So we will be adding that in a minute. Alright, so let us click on finish, and here is our hello class. Now let us add yet another class. The name of the class would be car. Now the package is org.studyeasy, no issue in here, and the naming convention of class is definitely camel case, so we will uppercase the first letter of our name of the class. Alright, so this is cool, and I highly recommend you guys to do follow the naming convention. I have already made available a document for you guys in our previous videos. Alright, so that's stuff. Now in here we have this public class car, right? So no rocket science till now. Now in our previous lecture I have talked about properties and functionalities, or in other words we can also say state and behavior. State and properties are one and the same, behavior and functionality are one and the same. So in here we would be adding couple of properties, and this time way around these property would be private properties, and only public methods inside this class would be able to access it. We will definitely dig more about access specifier in our forthcoming videos. So we will say private. The first entity could be like doors, right? And what is door? Door would be a string entity, so let's make it as a string entity. Moving forward, let's add a yet another entity which would be again a string, and this would be like engine. All right, then it would be like the driver needs to be seated in order to run the car, right? So again we would be adding a yet another private entity. It would be again a string, and the name of the property would be driver. Now moving forward, let us add a yet another property. This would be again a private property, and it would be an int entity. The name of this property would be like speed. Alright, so now we have all of these states, or in other words these properties, but we doesn't have any functionality inside this object car. So that is something which we will check in couple of minutes. As of now, first of all, let us create an object. So this would be our first object, and the way of creating an object is pretty simple. Consider a class as a custom data type. So how we create a variable? Pretty simple. We will simply type in the data type first. So we will type in, for example, car. Then we will give the name of the car, maybe car, and then we need to initialize this particular custom data type. Now this is important because whenever we are making use of these classes, we must initialize those as well. And the way of initializing the custom data type, which is a class, is little different. So we will type in new, and then we will call the constructor. So we will simply type in car and pair of parentheses, and that's it. So now we have created a object of this car class. Now using this car, we would be able to access behavior and states based on the access specification. So in here, moving forward, let us check whether we are able to access the properties or not. So if we check all of these options are equals, get class, hash code, notify all, toString, and couple of more. So whenever we create an object, these methods are automatically made available by Java. Now in here we won't be able to see any property, right? And the reason is pretty simple. In here all of these properties are private properties, and the concept is pretty simple. We usually make the properties as private, and the behaviors can access these property. In other words, the properties or the states are private and your functionality can function on these properties. Are you able to get it? So this is the usual and recommended way, but as if now in order to access a property we can like tweak the recommendation a little. For example, I can change this int variable as public and then check whether we are able to access it or not. And if we check the recommendation now, then definitely we are able to see this option speed : int car. What is car? Car is the type, int is the data type, and speed is nothing but the name of your variable. Now we can definitely set some value in this variable, for example 1. So now the value of speed is 1, but how come we can access the value of this speed? Again, there is a issue, right? So as if now, as this is a public entity, we might able to access this particular variable. How we can do that? Let me show. If I try to print it on our console, let me copy this. Then what should be the output? Let me print it. The output should be 1. So we are able to access the value which is stored in the property, but the proper way is to assign the functionality and access the functionality to function on the property. So let us do that. So first of all, we will make this private once again, and as soon as we do this, in here Eclipse will start complaining. So let us get rid of these two statements real quick. And now we will add getters and setters. Now getters and setters, this concept is very useful and very famous as well and highly used. So the way of creating getters and setters is very simple. I will type in public. The return type for the setter would be void because we are setting some information, and then we will type set speed, and then we will receive int speed. Alright, so this looks to be good enough, and then using this functionality we can set the speed of this car. So in here we can say speed equals speed, right? So good enough. And in here we are getting some kind of issue, but we will check that in couple of minutes. Now this particular method helping us to set the speed, likewise we can also get the speed. So I will again type in public int get speed, and that's it, right? And in here we will simply return the value of speed. Now using this get speed method we can definitely get the speed of the car. Likewise we can also set the speed of the car. So let us proceed further and check the hello.java file, and using this object car, let us call the functionality. So if I type in car dot get speed, then definitely it will not give us a proper result. Why? Because we are not setting the speed first of all, right? So let us show me the output to you guys first of all. So if we are not setting the speed first of all, then what should be the output? The output should be null, I suppose. No, the output is 0 because the default value of int entity is 0. So which is cool stuff. Now let us set the speed. So I will type in car dot set speed, and we will set the speed as maybe 10, right? And then if I run this program, then again we are somehow getting 0. Now the reason is pretty simple. So let me show you this car.java file. In here we are getting this issue, and the issue is the assignment to variable speed has no effect, and the reason is pretty simple. The name of this parameter speed and the name of this variable are same. So how come Java know that which particular variable needs to be accessed? This particular variable, which is as a parameter of the set speed method, is a local variable, but this particular speed method is a like global variable global to this particular method. Now this private entity could be accessed using a small little thing, and that thing is this. So if we make use of this keyword, then we would be able to assign the value to this private entity speed, and then definitely our program should work properly and the output is 10. So this is how the getter and setter could be coded, and this is how we can set the value. So this is good, and I suppose the length of the video is pretty high by now. In our next video we will proceed further and check couple of more things. So stay tuned and take care.